My name is Muhammad Amir Farhad.
Hi, I'm Nur Shafika.
Hi, my name is Nur Edina Alani binti Idris.
Hi, my name is Nurin Alisha.
Hi, my name is Wan Nur Alisha.
Hi, my name is Nur Elena Najwa binti Ahmad. Hi and Assalamualaikum. OECD has defined employment rate is the employment to population ratio or the proportion of the population of working age who is utilized. People are deemed employed if they need to work for an hour or more in gainful employment within the previous week in line with the International Labour Organization. Those who have given up seeking employment are included within a number. A high employment rate is often seen as helpful to a country's GDP. When measuring the use rate, results above 70% are considered indicative of the powerful labor market, whereas those below 50% may indicate fundamental difficulties. When employed as an indicator of labor market health, the utilization rate is criticized since it doesn't account for working conditions, earning capacity, or time spent. Then, I'm going to talk about the meaning of COVID-19. Coronavirus disease COVID-19 could be a virus-borne infection caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The majority infected with the virus will have mild to severe disease and can recover without the necessity for any special treatment. Some, though, will get very ill and need medical treatment. People over the age of 65 are more vulnerable to getting a significant illness, as are those with the underlying medical disorder like upset diabetes, chronic respiratory disorder, or cancer. COVID-19 has the potential to cause serious disease or death in persons of all age. When it is your turn to act, get inoculate and hear local counsel. When an infected person coughs, sneezes, speaks, sings, or breathes, the virus can spread in minute liquid particles from their lips or nose. The dimension of those particles range from large respiratory droplets to microscopic aerosols. If you are feeling ill, it's critical to adopt respiratory etiquette like coughing into flexed elbow and staying reception and self-isolating until you recover. Consequently, in this video we will discuss the effect of high employment rate in Malaysia during COVID-19. Then now, we will continue with a summary for this case with Irina.
The spread of disease outbreak is a serious global problem as it can lead to insecurity and huge negative impact not only on health but also on society, the economy, and employers. When the COVID-19 pandemic began to spread around the world, thousands of people began to face severe health problems and death rates were rising. Therefore, in March 2020, Malaysia Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin declared the entire country will be on Movement Control Order MCO to deal with the rise in COVID-19 cases. For example, the airlines, hospitality, hotel and manufacturing industry is totally stopped and will take a long time to come out of this situation. Thus, this will have an indirect impact on Malaysia's unemployment rates. The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic saw unemployment climb to the highest rate since the Great Depression in many regions globally. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia DOSM on 8 May 2020, Malaysia's unemployment rate has risen to 3.9%, the highest in a decade, as people's career were impacted by COVID-19 and the Movement Control Order MCO. Furthermore, the Department of Statistics Malaysia DOSM added that the high unemployment rate in March 2020 reflects the negative impact of MCO on the labour market. So, what is the causes behind the scenario I mentioned earlier? The major cause for the high number in unemployment during the COVID-19 outbreak was most sectors of the economy had to be closed except for the essential services sector, which was allowed to operate in accordance with the Standard Operating Procedure SOP that had been set. In addition, since the Movement Control Order MCO was enforced, travel restrictions and borders must be closed, and other related sectors such as the hotel industry, food, transportation, and more. Last but not least, due to the Movement Control Order MCO, the government limits the number of workers who can work in the essential services industry. As a result, employers were forced to lay off unnecessary employees. This directly causes many individuals to lose their job, be given long unpaid leave, and be laid off by employers. Furthermore, the affected employers were forced to close businesses, operations, and lay off employees. As a result, the unemployment rate has a variety of negative consequences for society. Amongst them is the community loss of income, mental health issue, disruption of the product supply chain, and national and international losses. Therefore, I will leave it to Alisha to illustrate in more details.
Do you guys know what are the effects of COVID-19 on the employment rate in Malaysia? So, I will start with the first one. First is employment sector. The spread of COVID-19 that occurred in our country not only had a direct impact on the economic sector, but also affect to the social aspects of individuals and society. Living life under the new normal, forward and adapted to strict adherence and disciplines according to health standards and procedures, society is beginning to experience change in daily routines and lifestyles. So, the COVID-19 pandemic affects individuals in terms of the employment sector. Many individuals lost their jobs. Several employment sectors had to cease operation immediately in an effort to curb the spread of COVID-19. The closure of business during PKP result in many companies not being able to cover the cost of expenses, including not being able to pay employees' salaries. So, they had to lay off existing employees. So, when an individual does not have any job, the individual will at once lose his source of income. Next, this case also leads to unhealthy mental health to society in Malaysia. So, when an individual loses employees as well as income, it will also be one of the reasons of a person prone to mental problems. As we know, the coronavirus disease pandemic has exposed humans to the highest physical and mental risks. Thus, it is becoming a priority to probe the mental health problems experienced during the pandemic in different populations. So, the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting economic recession have negatively affected many people's mental health and create new barriers for people already suffering from mental illness and substance use disorders. July 2020 also discovered that many individuals are experiencing particular negative effects on their mental health and well-being as a result of the coronavirus, such as problems sleeping or eating and increasing in alcohol use or drug usage, and lastly, worsening chronic disease. So, that's all from me. We will continue with another two effects with Amer Farhan.
Next, problem to the economic. First, disrupting the product supply chain. The COVID-19 pandemic has posed major challenges for supply chains around the world. Multinational sections continue to slow or even temporarily halt the flow of the raw material and finished goods, causing manufacturing to be disrupted. The effect can be seen in inflation of productions and delivery costs, labor shortage, and the automobile industry, among others. Besides, not only manufacturers who depend on input from different countries are affected by COVID-19 restrictions, but local factories are very affected due to several factors, such as a factory is allowed to open if it is imported from the product of basic, such as food. The number of workers should be reduced so that the percentage of contagious COVID-19 epidemic is low. In conclusions, this COVID-19 pandemic has a high impact on all sections in the product supply chain. Next is losses in national and international business. Consideration should be given to the entrepreneurial environment since the coronavirus has had a substantial impact on the both domestic and international trade, particularly with regard to freedom of movement across regions and nations. Since their spread nations closed their borders to stop the risk of communicable disease, region trade blocs, particularly the European Union, that are found on the principle of free movements between countries have altered 19. The impact of these tight borders is especially noticeable because of the rising degree of internalizations caused by factors in job, family, and lifestyle. Due to the unpredictability of the business climate, economic activity deteriorated as a result of several national internet travel restrictions. That's all from me. We will continue with Elia and ways to overcome the problem that mentioned by me and Alicia just now.
Now I will discuss about how to handle the effect during COVID-19 on the country. Ways to optimize the supply chain during COVID-19. First, we must increase flexibility to balance supply and demand, repurpose assets, inventories, and capabilities. Second, understand the impact of demand disruptions, rapidly identify the products that are most critical for stabilization and growth, shore up associated supply chains, and requisite critical skills to meet near-term and future demand. Third, communicate effectively. Maintain proactive communication with on-site and distant workers, suppliers, carriers, and customers. Apart from that, I'll show you the strategies to keep a business from losing during COVID-19 on improvement in the country. First, boost confidence in trade and global market by improving transparency. The strong share transparent information plays in critical in underpinning sound national policy response and international cooperation to keep trade flowing. Second, keep global supply chain going, especially for essentials. An important priority is keeping the key supply chains for essential goods for the crisis. Improvement in society. In turn, we must pay attention to job and source of income that have been lost and mental health. The solution for protecting employees and families who have lost their job or income from self-employment during pandemic are: first, providing non-standard workers with access to unemployment benefits. Second, consideration is being given to one-time payment to impacted workers. Third, helping economically disadvantaged people to remain in their homes by postponing eviction and delaying loan and utility payments. Besides that, ways to optimize poor mental health during COVID-19 are: first, participate in regular physical activity. Physical activity and exercise on regular basis can help reduce anxiety and enhance mood. Second, limit exposure to news media. Limit your use of social media, which may expose you to rumors and misleading information. Third, stay busy. Distracting yourself with healthy activities may help you interrupt the cycle of negative thinking that fuels anxiety and sadness. And lastly, get help when you need it. Seek therapy as soon as possible if you have any concern or if your mental health problems worse. We will continue with Alicia and conclusion.
So, in conclusion, after discussing the effects of the high employment rate in Malaysia during the COVID-19 pandemic, we know that one of the causes when the COVID-19 occurred was the causing all the business and economics sector to be forced to close. Other than that, travel restriction and border closure. So the movement control order like MCO. Hence, the impact of the COVID-19 on society is resulted in the loss of the employment and the sources of the income. Many people had to be fired from the company, and many people also needed new job to continue and living to support the family members. They do not have the strong finances to support their family members. Subsequently, the impact on society will also cause them to experience the mental and physical problems. This has a detrimental effect on the society. Furthermore, the impact on the country resulted in losses in national and international business. This is because many roads and borders cannot be crossed to avoid the increasing cases. In the end, there are many initiatives from the government to prevent the widespread outbreak of the COVID-19 disease, which will cause the many people fall ill and it can be fatal. So we as the Malaysian, we need to follow the every direction and directed by the authorities so that we can create a harmonious and free country from the COVID-19 pandemic. That's all from me. Thank you for watching.
Happy?
8.
Adaha.
From us,
Thank you, madam.
Bye.